Hi, Linda Bowen here from StampingWithLinda.com, your cardiologist since 1997, helping you create cards from the heart. Today I am featured the Special Reason stamp set and the Stylish Stems in my Creative Fold card. This will be a bundle in my Stamp of the Month in the coming months. You want to check at my website, StampingWithLinda.com. So let's get started. The card that I'm doing today is called a Storybook Fold, and it was inspired by a card that I got for Christmas from a dear friend, Franz Martin. And so here is the front of the card, and here's how it pops up into the storybook. Now, I have used the Falling in Love Designer Series paper, and I have also used, notice these little butterflies. They are beautiful butterflies from the Timeless Tags stamp set. So if you have not checked that out, you need to. Now, I've already done my front of my card. This is Sierra Sand, and it measures 3.5 by 4 1/4, and I placed a piece of Old Olive that's 3 3/4 by 5 behind it. Now with this stamp set, or excuse me, the framelit Stylish Stems, it kind of gives you a negative image. So I did that stem, and you see that Old Olive behind there. So I'm going to bring in my card base. This measures 5.5 by 8.5, so it's my standard card base. And so this would make a lovely card just like so. I'm going to take a piece of rich razzleberry. This measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. All the measurements for this card will be over on my blog, StampingWithLinda.com. So I'm just going to take this and go ahead and add that to the front of that card. I am, like I said, going to be using the Falling in Love Designer Series paper. And so here is that piece of paper. Going to bring in my personal trimmer, and I am going to, I see I have not got it here. Just a second. Sorry about that. I always think I have everything right here where I need it, and that's not the case. So this Designer Series paper is a little bit smaller. It is 5 3/8 by 8.5. That way it'll give you a little wiggle worm. So we're going to go ahead and get cutting with that. So the first thing we're going to do, because it's 5.5 by 8.5, we are going to score it at the 4 1/4 inch. We are going to flip our paper around. We're going to line it up on the side at the 1 inch mark, and we are going to start cutting from 1 inch. So I'm going to line my arrow up 1 to 7.5. Then I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing, line it up on the side, and I'm going to start cutting at 1 inch to 7.5, and now what I need to do is score. So I am going to take that 8.5 inch side, and I'm going to go in like so, and where I'm going to be scoring is from cut line to cut line. So line it up at the 1 inch, and I'm going to start scoring at the 1 inch. Score down to the cut line. I'm going to fold in or move into the 2, and I'm going to do the same thing. Score from the cut line to the cut line. I'm going to flip it over, do the same thing, 1 inch. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead. I want to see where my cut line is, so I'm going to move it over to the 1 inch. That way I can easily see where those cut lines are to score. Then I'll just flip it back around for that 2 inch mark. Again, scoring in the inside. Now on the outside, so from the cut line to the outside edge, I need to cut or score at the 2.5. So 2.5 to score line to the edge at 2.5. Flip it over and do the same thing. Edge to cut line to edge. Then what I need to do, I'm going to go ahead and remember you're using Designer Series paper, so you have to be careful that you don't score those lines too deep. And I see, oh, it looks like I missed. I scored just 1 inch on this side and 2 inch. Oh, that's right. 1 inch and 2 inch on this side. And then we've got this piece here. So this is going to fold up. The center is going to go down. This is going to go up, down, up, down. So it is looking like so. And so I'm just going to go in and really burnish those edges good, like so. Now where I need to add my adhesive, I'm going to turn this over so maybe you can see better, is I just need the adhesive right along here into the first score line. I am going to go ahead and use my Tomboy glue so that it will allow me to move back and forth a little bit. Your sticky tape or your fast fuse works really well for this, but the problem is when you glue this down, you want to be able to move it back and forth. Remember, we made it 5 3/8, so we have a little bit of wiggle room on that side, and the 8 1/2 we can still, because of the creases, do a little wiggle worm on that side too. So we're going to bring that card in. And we're going to flip this over, and I want just a small little border. Again, when you're using that Tomboy, it just allows you to move back and forth if you haven't got it exactly even. So we're going to pull this up because that glue dries clear. So there we've got that, and we have our Storybook fold. Now we want to decorate that booklet. So I'm going to bring in my Big Shot. Remember, I have 4 pieces of cardstock that measured 3 1/4, and 2 of them are at the 7/8, so I've got those. Just going to put it in my Petal Burst folder. Well, I've got a little glue on my fingers, so it wants to stick. And then I have 2 pieces that are measuring that 3 1/4 by 1/8. And so I'm going to run them through the Big Shot. And then I'm going to bring my Rich Razzleberry. I'm going to run those through. Going to bring in my Rich Razzleberry and a dauber, and I am going to daub and rub, so it's just going to highlight that embossing folder. So just by taking that dauber, just giving some character to that paper. Now I see I ran both of those 2 1/8 by 3 1/4 through. One of them should not be run through, so I guess that's why the Lord had me have 3 of them when I only needed 2, because he knew I was going to make a mistake and run them all through. I don't want them all through. Just one of the big ones and the 2 smaller ones that are 7/8. So I've got some ink on there. Now I stamped on the front of the card one of the verses that says, what does it say? It says, "I'm lucky to have a good friend like you." And so on the inside, I'm going to stamp, "Together we share so many things." I have many special friends that I do share some very special things with them. So I've got that. I have already taken and die cut some images for this card. So we're going to go ahead and put the card together. So here is the centerpiece that has been embossed. Kind of hard to tell exactly where those score lines are. They're very busy. Here's the one that I stamped on so that I can write a little message. And then the 2 end pieces. So they're small. I'm not going to add anything. And with that embossing folder, it just really adds to that design. But I am going to use one of the flowers. Again, with this framelit set, this makes a negative image, and then you need to cut out with this image. So I'm going to bring in my silicone mat and add some glue to that flower with my sponge. Let's see, I think I want to use that side. So just kind of sponge that around. And I'm going to add that flower right there. Then I'm just going to grab some of the leaves and do the same thing, just put a little bit of glue on them. The silicone mat and your glue like this really makes it easy to add your fine framelits. I'm going to go in and add a butterfly. See if I can get some glue. Maybe I'll just take my glue for this and just add a couple butterflies down here. I see I've got more glue than I need, so I should have used the sponge. Let's see if I can pick it up. Yeah, I got enough. And there you have it, a Storybook fold card. Thanks for the inspiration, Fran. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.